With all the drama and the chaos that has happened in hip hop in the year 2024, it just got worse. Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm 24K Logan. So I'm here to give my brief opinion and my overall outlook on the situation with Drake versus UMG, or Drake suing UMG. Now, I do want to start off by saying I am not a journalist. I'm just a podcaster, a YouTuber with an opinion, just like everybody else has an opinion. You may or may not agree with me. It is what it is. But I just wanted to take my time, or take the time, to give my insight to this whole situation and what do I think is going to be the outcome. So let's start off with this, right? We all know about the beef between Kendrick and Drake. I mean, it's been roughly 6 months at this point since Not Like Us was released. So we all know about Kendrick and Drake. If you don't, you've probably been living under a rock. But this situation goes like this. Drake is, of course, suing UMG, alleging that they artificially inflated the streams and even the sales of Not Like Us, making it more popular than it is, or more popular than it was, so to speak. And there's also a second part in the lawsuit that alleges that UMG indeed knew that Not Like Us contained some allegations against Drake. In other words, they knew what was going to be said in the song before they even had distributed. And the whole point of this video, I believe that there's two sides to this. There's two ways you can look at it. Number one, you can look at it from the standpoint of, in Drake's case, if UMG is indeed screwing him out of his money by using the money that he could potentially get, or the money that he deserves, if they're using a portion of that money to somehow, some way come together to help Kendrick Lamar, who is also under UMG because of course he's under Interscope. If UMG is indeed doing this and is hurting Drake's his marketing, hurting his finances, considering that he is one of the biggest assets to Universal Music Group, I can understand that standpoint, because he's not suing Kendrick. This is all against UMG. But of course, with it being a Kendrick song, by nature, Kendrick is going to be a part of the conversation one way or another. The other way you can look at it, and this is how I think a lot of fans have looked at it, and I can understand why. Kendrick just released GNX last Friday, right? And not only that, it's been 6 months since Not Like Us came out, about 6 months. And in a lot of hip hop fans' eyes, not everyone, but in a lot of hip hop fans' eyes, Kendrick won the beef. So post beef, post Kendrick releasing GNX, Drake now comes out with this lawsuit, with these allegations. The timing of it looks very petty and bad on Drake's part, if I'm being honest. Again, if what he is alleging against UMG is indeed true, then I have to respect him for taking these measures. And I'm going to get into why I don't think this will go well for him. But to get back to what I was saying, if that is indeed the case, if UMG indeed did do this, if they indeed had artificially inflated the sales and the streams of Not Like Us to kind of hinder Drake in the whole beef between him and Kendrick, if they did that, I can understand why Drake made his decision, even though the timing is kind of off. Because it's like, okay, if you been knew this, why didn't you do this from the beginning? Because this was a beef, even though it was technically antagonized by Kendrick on the Like That song when he had his verse saying fuck the big three. Even though that sparked the beef and made it worse than what it has been over the last decade or so, with Kendrick and Drake dropping subliminals at each other, nevertheless, Drake responded, as he should have, but he responded. And there were multiple diss tracks from him and Kendrick Lamar. So it's very obvious that Drake engaged in this battle. And it's almost like, just speaking from maybe a fan's point of view, it's almost like Drake is doing this out of pettiness more so than doing this for the culture, doing this for the greater good of the music industry. My question to everybody watching this video, when it comes to Drake suing UMG and the allegations that he has towards UMG, do you think that Drake is doing this for the great or good of the music industry? Or is he doing this out of pettiness as an after result to him and Kendrick? That is the biggest question. And I think a lot of people are on the second side, that Drake is indeed doing this to be petty, that he's doing this to show how much power he has, or how much power he potentially has. Which leads me to my next point of the video. As I said before, Drake is one of, if not the biggest asset to Universal Music Group. And with that being said, if he's one of their biggest assets, and if he is indeed being screwed out of his money, being screwed out of all of his opportunities that he potentially can have, again, I can respect why he is doing this, or I can respect or understand why he's doing this. But even more so, if what he's saying is true, if it comes out that this is true, and Drake somehow, some way wins this lawsuit, I think it's going to change the music industry forever. Is it going to change it for the greater good? Potentially. And if Drake is able to win a lawsuit against them, which I believe the lawsuit is going to be up to $2 billion. I haven't looked into that too much. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section. I apologize for that. If Drake wins this, it will indeed change some things for the music industry, or in the music industry. Will it change it for the greater good? I think that is still yet to come. I feel like we won't know that until the aftermath, if that actually happens. And that leads me to my last and final point of the video, going deeper into my opinion. As I said before, if what Drake is claiming against UMG, if it is indeed true, if he has significant evidence to prove what he is saying, I can respect and understand why he is doing this. However, if it comes out that this did not happen, and of course the music industry has ways of covering things up, we know this, and not just the music industry, the entertainment industry as a whole, there are ways to cover these things up. Let's just call a spade a spade. However, if this is proven to be false, it's going to look very bad for Drake. All the people who are tormenting Drake online, saying all types of things about him, coming after his ethnicity, his race, calling him a culture vulture, giving into the term not like us, is going to be so much worse for Drake if he loses this allegation. And the reason why I say that is because I just don't think that hip hop will be on his side. I don't think at least half of the hip hop fans, not just the Kendrick fans, all of the people involved in hip hop some way or somehow, the rappers, the producers, whatever, a lot of them are already on the side of Drake is petty for doing this. This is so uncalled for. And I think that's really because of the timing. I don't think people are saying Drake is wrong for wanting to sue UMG if they're indeed doing him wrong, if they're screwing him out of his opportunities to make money, or to make more money, to do whatever is best for his career. In his eyes, I can understand that. I don't think nobody is disputing that. But because of the timing of when he decided to sue, especially after Kendrick just released GNX, and he engaged in the battle, and he himself came at Kendrick with some very strong allegations. I think that is why a lot of people within the hip hop community, not just the fans, people all throughout the hip hop community are giving Drake the side eye, because it just looks like it's petty. It doesn't seem to be for the greater good. Me personally, what do I believe? I'm mixed between this. I'm torn between this, because one side is saying if Drake is being done wrong, by all means, do what is right. Call these people out on their bullshit. But the other side is, you engaged in the battle. You came at Kendrick with allegations as well. Even though this is not towards Kendrick, this is a Kendrick Lamar song. So by nature, he's going to be a part of the conversation some way, somehow. And for you to willingly engage in this, for you to come at Kendrick with allegations, you're not suing him for you're not suing Kendrick for defamation of what he said. You're suing UMG apparently for knowing that Kendrick was going to have these criminal allegations against you in the song. And I think, again, that is why people are looking at Drake bad right now. So I'm torn. If Drake is indeed being done wrong, if he has proof of all of this, significant proof, by all means, go for it. But if you're doing this out of pettiness, which right now, that's more of what it looks like, and a lot of the things that Kendrick was saying in Euphoria and Not Like Us, even, not the allegations, but the things about being a quote-unquote culture vulture, not being for the culture, things like that, it's hard to defend him against it right now, because the timing, I think if the timing was different, it wouldn't be such a big deal. And because the beef has been a constant conversation of music this year, not just hip hop, all music, and considering the historical run that Kendrick is on, being chosen to perform at Super Bowl, and coming out with GNX, which just sold 325,000 copies, if I'm correct. Because of all of that, the timing is just bad, and ultimately it makes Drake look bad. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We have plenty of content on the way. Comment down below, what do you think about Drake versus UMG? Do you think that he is doing this for the greater good of music, of the music industry, and for the sake of his own career? Or is he doing this strictly out of pettiness and an aftermath of the beef between him and Kendrick Lamar? Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time, peace and love to everybody.